contested waters of the South China Sea, tensions are reaching a boiling point. Recent events have sparked a confrontation between U.S. warships and Chinese Coast Guard vessels. The incident began when Philippine vessels were repelled by Chinese forces near disputed territories. In response, the United States, a staunch ally of the Philippines, dispatched warships to challenge China's aggressive actions. As the Philippines has ramped up ties with the U.S., tensions have grown with China in the South China Sea. In February, the Philippines accused China's Coast Guard of directing a military-grade laser at its troops living on a dilapidated warship on 2nd Thomas Shoal near Mischief Reef. The Philippines in 1999 grounded the BRP Sierra Madre on the shoal in a bid to boost its claims over the Spratly Islands, and the handful of troops garrisoned on the rundown vessel depend on regular resupply missions to survive their remote assignment. China has repeatedly urged the Philippines to remove the grounded ship, and Manila in turn has called on Beijing to also remove all illegal structures built within its EEZ. The laser incident was followed by multiple confrontations. In August, the Philippines accused China of using a water cannon against Filipino supply boats delivering food, fuel, and water to the Sierra Madre troops. And in October, the Philippines accused the Chinese Coast Guard of intentionally colliding with its resupply boats in the area. Earlier this month, the Philippines again accused China of firing water cannon at its boats and ramming others, causing serious engine damage. Manila called the actions of the Chinese vessels a serious escalation, while Beijing accused the Philippine boats of trespassing on its territory. The Chinese Foreign Ministry last week warned the Philippines that ties between the two countries were at a crossroads and said that if Manila misjudged or colluded with ill-intentioned forces, Beijing would defend its rights and respond resolutely. Despite the rising tensions, analysts in Manila say traditional methods of diplomacy with China have failed and the Philippines has no choice but to work with allies. Whatever action the Philippines takes to protect its national interest will always be construed by China as a provocation, said Rommel Jude Giom, a professor at the Ateneo School of Government and a former Filipino naval officer. The best course of action for the Philippines is to strengthen its ability to deter China unilaterally and in concert with the U.S. and other strategic partners, he added. In the contested waters of the South China Sea, recent events have highlighted the ongoing territorial disputes and geopolitical tensions between China and its neighbors. One such incident involved U.S. warships confronting Chinese Coast Guard ships after they repelled Philippine vessels in the region. This confrontation underscores the complex dynamics at play in the South China Sea and raises concerns about potential escalation in the already volatile region. The South China Sea is a strategically vital waterway through which trillions of dollars in trade flow annually. However, overlapping territorial claims by China, Taiwan, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei have fueled tensions and led to frequent maritime disputes. China, in particular, has asserted expansive territorial claims based on its controversial 9-dash line, which encircles almost the entire South China Sea. This assertion has resulted in the construction of artificial islands and military installations by China in disputed waters, further exacerbating tensions in the region. The recent incident began when Philippine vessels attempted to resupply and rotate troops stationed on the disputed 2nd Thomas Shoal, which is claimed by both the Philippines and China. However, Chinese Coast Guard ships intervened and prevented the Philippine vessels from reaching their destination. Following this encounter, U.S. warships, including the U.S. Bunker Hill and U.S. Barry, reportedly conducted freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, near the area where the Philippine vessels were repelled. These operations were perceived as a direct challenge to China's claims and actions in the South China Sea. the escalation of tensions resulting from the confrontation between Philippine vessels and Chinese Coast Guard ships, followed by the intervention of U.S. warships, underscores the complex geopolitical dynamics in the South China Sea. China's assertive actions in the South China Sea, including the construction of artificial islands and the establishment of military outposts, are seen as part of its broader strategy to assert dominance in the region. By deploying its Coast Guard ships to block Philippine vessels, China aims to reinforce its claims and deter other claimants from challenging its authority. Conversely, the presence of U.S. warships signals American commitment to upholding a rules-based international order and supporting its allies and partners in the region. The close encounters between vessels from different countries in the South China Sea raise concerns about the potential for miscalculation and unintended escalation. The presence of military assets from major powers such as the United States and China increases the risk of a military confrontation with far-reaching consequences. As tensions continue to simmer, any incident in the region has the potential to spiral out of control and trigger a wider conflict. The latest incident adds another layer of complexity to the already strained relations between the United States and China. The U.S. strategy of conducting FONOPs to challenge China's maritime claims reflects Washington's commitment to upholding the rules-based order and countering China's assertiveness. However, such actions also risk exacerbating tensions and complicating efforts to find diplomatic solutions to the South China Sea dispute. The confrontation between Philippine vessels, Chinese Coast Guard ships, and U.S. warships in the South China Sea highlights the ongoing tensions and power struggles in the region. As competing claims to sovereignty and maritime rights intersect, the risk of conflict and escalation remains ever present. Efforts to manage and resolve these disputes through diplomacy and adherence to international law are essential to preventing further instability and maintaining peace and security in the South China Sea. However, achieving a durable and peaceful resolution to the complex territorial issues will require sustained dialogue, cooperation, and goodwill among all parties involved. The presence of U.S. warships in these contested waters sends a clear message of support to its allies and a signal of deterrence to China. However, it also risks escalating an already volatile situation. As diplomatic efforts continue to find a peaceful resolution, the world watches closely as the situation unfolds in one of the most strategically important waterways. Stay tuned as we monitor developments in the South China Sea. Subscribe for more updates and analysis on the latest geopolitical issues. Thanks for watching.